All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to talk about the biggest fight in boxing. Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. Errol Spence Jr. again pressing the issue on Terence Crawford, puts out a funny, very, very funny meme. And at the same time, a lot of people are thinking that Terence Crawford is getting cold feet about the fight. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. We are in the welterweight division again. This is Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford over the last couple days, man, because it is just one of the more fun conversations in boxing. And it looks like we're getting closer to getting the fight that many people didn't think was going to happen earlier this year. But Errol Spence Jr. took to his Instagram today and put Terence Crawford on the spot again. He's got his foot on the gas, full go, talking about this fight. Before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are not a subscriber to the channel, please accept my invitation to subscribe to the channel. We talk about boxing pretty much every day on the channel, have live streams in the morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, several videos a day most days. So there's always something to talk about in a community of boxing fans that you can chop it up with in the community, in the comment section, or in the comment section of the live stream. All right, so two things in this video. One, Errol Spence Jr. is pushing on the gas on Errol Spence Jr. and on Terence Crawford to make this fight. And also, there are people out there and rumblings that Terence Crawford may not be that serious about making the fight with Errol Spence Jr. So in the first part, I'm going to talk about that. In the second part, I'm going to put that aside to a little bit and tell you why, I'm not necessarily worried about that. Now, as far as Errol Spence Jr. goes, obviously, he's now got 3 belts: the WBC belt, the IBF belt, and the WBA super belt. So he is now holds 3 belts in the welterweight division. The last one that have is Terence Crawford. Now, for several years, and I'm going to make a mention of this because many of you guys still big Bud Crawford fans, and I ain't got a problem with that. Know what it is, keep mentioning the past when it comes to Errol Spence Jr. and saying how Errol Spence Jr. said he wanted to take the easy route to get to Undisputed, how he decided to fight all these other guys before he fought Terence Crawford for the belt, right? All those conversations about Errol Spence Jr. ducking Terence Crawford, I still hear in the comment sections, I still hear in the live streams, and let me put that to rest by saying, look, the man said what he was going to do. He said that he was going to do 5 years ago. He did exactly what he said he was going to do 5 years ago, which was go through the IBF, the WBC, and the WBA belts, collect all of them, and then go over there to fight Terence Crawford. He was now with this meme. He is coming after the fight. Now, before the meme, but after the fight, he said the same thing. He said, Terence, I'm coming to get your belts. My people are going to contact your people. We're going to sit down, and whatever the fight is going to make sense. So now you have Errol Spence Jr. on the Tuesday after the fight, taken to his Instagram page to stoke the fire even more with a picture of him with a shopping cart with already having 3 belts in the cart, and with 1 check left being Terence Crawford for the WBO belt. Now, I do myself personally, I like the comparison to food in the shopping cart and going to pick up this food, because maybe Errol thinks Terence Crawford is going to be food. I don't think that he is. Many people think that I'm being unfair to Terence Crawford because I think that Errol Spence Jr. is going to win the fight, because I don't see how Terence Crawford is going to beat him. However, I will freely admit that I am not Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is the world-class future Hall of Fame fighter, not me. So just because I can't see it doesn't mean that Terence Crawford can't see it. Bo Mack can't see it. Their team can't see it. Maybe there's something that they see that I don't see. However, it's just difficult for me to visualize how he's going to do it with the shape the intensity that I've seen Errol Spence Jr. in there with. Now, that is, and I believe that Terence Crawford is going to get this fight done. It's going to be whatever amount of money, is a fair amount of money for the fight and a fair situation. I think that Terence Crawford is going to agree to it because I think Terence Crawford believes that he can beat Errol Spence Jr. Me saying that I pick Errol Spence Jr. to win is not the same thing as me believing that Terence Crawford is not willing to give it a try and that Terence Crawford doesn't believe that he can win that fight. Now, I, however, am not, it's not a unanimous consensus out there that this is the case. Some people are saying, and by some people, you can go figure out who the people are. It ain't my business to always tell you exactly who says what, especially when in a video where I'm not trying to get a lot of people a lot of sweat by certain people going there and going off on them. I'm just going to share that the voices that have been in my ear have been like, look, do not assume that Terence Crawford is going to take that fight. Terence Crawford has said things in the past that made people believe that he was saying them just to make sure he could get out of that fight with Errol Spence Jr. because he may not be that confident that he can win and beat Errol Spence Jr. They point to the fact that he said that Errol Spence Jr. said that they would take, that he would fight him for 60-40, and 60-40 is a very, very solid look for Terence Crawford in that fight. When you consider how much the pay-per-views do and the tickets are sold for both of those fighters, when Terence Crawford said, look, it's going to be 50-50 or there's no fight, and if anybody's getting 60-40, it's me. If Terence Crawford does not move off that position, that fight is not going to take place. And honestly, if he were to say that in a fight this big, in a fight that would be this big, if Errol was going to say 60-40 and he was pushing for something like either a big guaranteed purse or a split in his favor or even a 50-50 split, that is something that he would know that they're not going to accept. And it is not a unheard of technique for people to make offers, financial offers to fighters for fights and offer them something that they think is unfair and they would not accept. In my personal opinion, if Errol Spence Jr. was serious about a 70-30 split with Terence Crawford for an undisputed title, I would say I think that man is being unfair to Terence Crawford, and I would not expect Terence Crawford at the end of the day to take a 70-30 split on a pay-per-view with Errol Spence Jr. because he's got the last belt. He's obviously the guy that everybody wants Errol Spence Jr. to fight. So there's definitely big time interest in that fight. Now, if Errol Spence Jr. was willing to go in at 55-45 and Terence Crawford was not willing to take 55-45 for that, then I would say, all right, man, I don't really know if you really want that fight. But so there are people out there saying, man, especially with the way that Errol manhandled and beat up Yordenis Ugas, that Terence Crawford and that camp might get cold feet about that because that is a different animal than what they had seen out of Errol for the last couple years in the Mikey Garcia fight, in the Sean Porter fight, and the Danny Garcia fight. It's just a different beast. And at that age and that style, knowing that animal is coming at him, hey man, he may try to get an easy couple paydays in between the fight and, maybe wait for Errol to slip. I don't know. I have more faith in Terence Crawford than that though. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.